Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise podcast, joined by our old friend Tom Loxas. Tom has resuscitated his old podcast, Beers and Beat Guys. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Why do I never remember?
I don't know.
So feel free to subscribe to that if you don't already. Like who have you had on recently?
Oh, I have on Greg Nuss, who does one of the podcast guys. I enjoy him. He was fun. Yeah, you'll be due for another appearance soon. Fair warning.
I was begging for it. So that was the whole reason I brought it up. Who have you had on?
You're my Cardinals guy.
Yeah. Oh, that's all I want to talk about.
Cardinals.
And this is the Red Hot Cardinals. Apparently they are winning. Well, we know they're winning with pitching. They had at one point when they had won 7 games in a row and they had allowed 6 runs.
Wow,
that's pretty good, I guess. But apparently they play very
good. When you're hot, you're hot.
They play very good defense. Like they are double. Their outs above average is double the team that is in second place. I guess all those fat bearded guys that they have are defensive whizzes. Who knew? I can't tell. Alex Burleson from who's the other?
Yeah, Alex Burleson. Yeah,
Burleson. Who's the other fuzzy little guy they got? I can't think of his name. They all look alike. They're all white, just the way the St. Louis like. Actually, that's not right. Mason Wynn, their shortstop. Jordan Walker, I saw playing, not very well. I really don't care about them. I will only care about them 13 times this year. That's 13 times more than I'd like to, but that's fine. What'd you think of had you watched any of the White Sox before the weekend? You tuned into any White Sox baseball?
I mean the word on the street is they're looking a little better.
Wow, I'll tell you, my impression of them is they're still terrible.
Okay.
I was like, holy shit, I forgot how bad you guys are. I mean, the one thing they're really good at is dropping throws to the plate. They have that mastered. They get a come.
Oh, yeah, I saw the White Sox playoffs. Yeah,
get a come out by 6 feet and throw it to the catcher and just watch him drop it. I also enjoyed Miguel Vargas, who's been good for like 2 weeks in his entire career, getting mad at Brad Keller because he got hit by a pitch. It's like they're not. I got news for you, Miguel. They're not throwing at you. Nobody cares enough to intentionally throw at you. It'll be fine. Go back to hitting 180 or whatever you're good at. Yeah, Dave Brown and I talked a little bit about they're on the same pace they were last year. But Dave reminded me that early pace really ramped up in the middle of the summer when they just lost every day for like 2 months. So they're probably not going to lose 121 games again, but they are going to learn a lot. And I unearthed a very fun fact because I was wondering, the last 2 years they have lost 222 games, which is a staggering amount. But I wondered, I'm like, what's the most the Cubs have ever lost in back-to-back seasons? And it's like 192. It's not even close. The White Sox demolished that. But their current run of the worst 7-year stretch in Cub history, the Cubs averaged 91 losses a year for 7 years. It was in the 60s, the late 50s to early 60s. Leo's first year was like the last truly terrible year before they got good. The White Sox, if you go back 7 years and throw out the COVID year because they only played 60 games, this encapsulates that period when they were supposed to be good, right? When they had they got Eloy and they got Dylan Cease. We stole those guys from the Cubs and all the guys we got for Chris Sale. They're averaging 93 losses. It's the worst 7-year stretch in Chicago baseball history. So they've got that going for them, which is nice.
What years was it with the Cubs? Were they the worst?
It was the back-to-back Dale Svame years.
I was going to say it. I would imagine it had been early rebuild years.
Yeah, it was like 99 and 103 or whatever. The Cubs have only lost 100 games 3 times ever.
Hmm.
So as terrible as they have been for long stretches, they could always pull out of the tailspin right before they hit 100 losses.
That's surprising.
Yeah, the Sox have lost 100 twice, 6 times. Um,
You want to know the Orioles only have one more win than the White Sox?
yeah. In fact, I saw there was that meme with
That's
Anakin and
crazy. Yeah,
Padme,
so funny.
where Padme's like, "Hey, the White Sox were only a game behind the Orioles. The Orioles are good, right?" Like, no, no.
Or the White Sox are good, right?
Oh yeah, the White Sox are good, right? No, they're not. Yeah, that Oriole thing is really strange. I mean, they can't pitch at all, at all. They're so terrible.
Yeah.
But our old friend Brandon Hyde is looking for work. I couldn't
And the
remember.
Rockies. I mean, I'm looking at the standings right now, 8-40. That just looks fucking crazy.
Yeah, they're unbelievably terrible. Like they're going to break the Sox.
That's so bad.
The Sox worked so hard to break that record last year, and it's only going to last a year.
Yeah, that's
It's like
they got that wrapped up already.
it's like Barry Bonds breaking McGuire's record just a few years after he said it. All that work and it's gone. Same with the White Sox. They worked so hard for
Their winning percentage is 167.
They
Man.
were like 4-0 on Sunday. That was like the one thing they were good at. They won their first 4
Rockies.
Sundays. Yeah, like we're unbeatable on Sunday. Like, well, that lasted a month, and now that's half your wins. Is right then. The Cubs are terrible.
I feel like half the Cubs. Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like half the losses have been on Sundays, especially
Six
the
of
bad
them.
ones.
6 of them. They lost 6 times
Yeah.
on Sunday. You know, that was only their second win, right? When they beat the Sox on Sunday, it was only their second Sunday win of the year.
That sounds right.
Boog actually.
I will say Monday's loss was rough though.
Oh God, yes.
I'm sorry. What were you saying about Boog?
Well, I don't know if Boog was just joking or if Craig really said this, but he said they were talking to counsel before the game and on Sunday and saying, "What do you guys? What's going on Sundays?" And Craig was like, "Well, in spring we really focused on Fridays. That was our emphasis. Was play well on Fridays, and apparently it's backfired because now we can't win on Sundays. So either Boog was making a joke or Craig was making a joke. Either way, it was funny. I enjoyed it. But yeah, we didn't know that Porter Hodge had hurt himself because I couldn't figure out why he wasn't coming in. But I was like, oh, maybe they just gonna give Jeremiah a shot, and I mean, Kyle Tucker is a great player. I love having Kyle. I thought he was gonna catch that ball, and I think he thought he was gonna catch it. He looked like he kind of like started to chop his feet because he was under it. And then I was like, uh-oh. I thought, game's over. No, the game's not over. It still took 2 more hits to beat the Cubs. I mean, Estrada could have picked him up, but he didn't. But he got him today. So he must be going to be the closer for now, I guess. I kind of thought they were going to go back to Presley. I don't know why. I mean, since he had the worst outing in baseball history, where he became the first pitcher to ever give up 9 earned runs while only facing 8. Oh, no, 9 runs. 1 was unearned. He gave up 9 runs while facing 8 batters. Congratulations. I believe it's 6 scoreless appearances for Ryan now. Pitching in the 6th. It's Craig's like, okay, if we're going to bring him in, we're going to need at least 3 at-bats to make up for all the runs he gives up. So let's just put him in the 6th. And that'll be fine. But I guess Hodge is already throwing. So maybe it's not as bad. Because I thought when I heard oblique, I'm like, well, that's 2 months. That's bad. But these are the Cubs, so who knows?
Yeah, and Hap just came back pretty quickly from an oblique. So they must have like a new oblique guy.
That's what they focused on. We're gonna get an oblique guy. Well, that oblique guy apparently hadn't perfected his craft with Javier Assad.
No, that's not working out.
He was coming back, and then he wasn't. That's all right. We got you got a Colin Ray pitching well. I'm sure that can't go bad. Every time he goes out there, I wait for him to explode, and he's done a nice job every time. So it's like, okay. Um, but yeah, so we've seen Cade Horton 3 times now. What do you think of Cade Horton?
Yeah, I'm impressed. He definitely has the stuff. Um, and I think as it, I thought today. I don't know. I thought today he looked probably the best. What do you think?
I was listening to part. I was in the car for part of it, and we got to the 5th inning, and I can't listen to Zach, so I flipped over to the Marlins feed, and that was he was pitching to Kyle Stowers, who's really good. Oh, he's a terrible outfielder. Kyle
Yeah,
Stowers is a
he's good.
terrible outfielder, but he can hit. He's a nice player.
You know,
Um, and they had there he threw him a changeup, and Kyle missed it by 3 feet. And then he threw him another one to get ahead 1-2. And Rod Allen is their color guy, and he's like, "You think he's going to triple up?" And they're like, "No, he's never. No way he's going to throw 3 in a row." And he did, and they were like really impressed. And then he did it again. He threw 4 in a row because Stowers was not coming anywhere close to hitting that. I mean, he was barely fouled off the one, and
yeah,
you could tell they were like really impressed because he's like, "This is third best pitch," and they recognized in that at bat that Kyle wasn't going to be able to square it up. So just keep throwing it to get him out. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think I've been very. I know he was a Cub. I'm always leery of the highly touted Cub pitching prospect because we haven't had a good one since 2002, and I'm not
yeah,
even not exaggerating. We really haven't had a good one since Mark Pryor. Those were the salad days. You had Pryor, Wood, and Zambrano all at the same time. It's like, oh, we're a pitching machine, and nobody until 20 until for 23 years. But yeah, he's looked really good. And my only fear is he's already thrown more innings this year than he threw last year.
yeah.
And it's not like, well, that's 1 year. Yeah, but you go back 2 years. He's pretty close to throwing more innings this year than he threw 2 years ago. He threw 88 in his first year with the Cubs in this system. That's the most he's ever pitched. He only threw 52 in his entire college career.
Yeah,
So
I was
that's
almost thinking that. Yeah, I was almost thinking that he'd be better, coming out of the pen this year. But I think the injury to
I think
Shota kind of like changed
yeah.
it.
And they're saying Shota is probably not going to be back till mid-June. So it's like
Yeah,
3 weeks at the. So that's what, probably 4 more starts for Cade.
yeah,
And if I were them, I would immediately then put him in the bullpen, and that's how I would manage his
yes,
workload for the rest of the year.
yes.
I
I
wouldn't
think
send him to
that's
Iowa. It's stupid to have him pitching in Iowa. You need your bullpen blows,
yeah,
and just use him there. He doesn't have. You don't have to make him the closer. You don't have to do anything. You can pick your spots with him, and you can give him X amount of days off between appearances and try to manage it. But I mean,
yeah.
you don't have an arm like that anywhere else. So don't. You're doing the whole league a favor if you send him to Iowa.
No, I think that's the best plan. That's what I would do. That's what I would have done from jump if it wasn't for the Shota injury.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Just
wonder what.
because, just because of his history. I mean, otherwise, yeah, let the kid start. But yeah, he's gonna run out of bullets.
It worked
In
for
the middle of
it worked for
September.
Jeff Samardzija. It worked for
Yeah,
Carlos Zambrano. They both started in the bullpen. That's how
yeah.
everybody used to do it.
Hmm.
That's how you developed a young pitcher, was you put him in your bullpen.
Back in my day,
Yeah, Fergie. That's how Fergie did it.
Chris Sale.
If it was good enough for Fergie, yeah. But I'm gonna say if it's good enough for Fergie, it's good enough for Cade Horton.
Yeah, no, but I want him to pitch, down the stretch. So yeah, that's I think the only way they can do it.
Yeah. Could you just give him this June and July off? Hey, Cade, you want to go on a vacation? Well, don't I have to
Yeah,
throw?
they
No,
might
you
do
don't.
something like that.
You don't have to throw. Just leave. Don't leave the country. You might not get back in. We're not sure how that's working. But just, don't go to Canada. Don't go anywhere. Just stick around, and then we'll just activate you on August 1st. I remember as a kid, I couldn't understand why the Bears didn't just save Jim McMahon for the playoffs. I was like, what does he need to play for? He's just going to get hurt. Just save him for the playoffs. It was perfect logic when I was however old, 12 or whatever. They should have done it. And at least they'd have won one more Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of Iowa, Matt Shaw is back. And I'm mad at myself because I was going to write on late last week. I was going to predict he was going to come back in the Marlins series. And then he did. And I would have been right. Because I was looking for a soft landing for him, and I thought, they're probably going to want to avoid the White Sox series. And then you get the Marlins, but then you get to go to Cincinnati, and that's a fun place to hit. And and how long can we suffer with Nicky Lopez and Vidal and John Birdie and the cameos over there by Turner? The only thing that worried me about the Shaw thing was then that Sahadev wrote on Monday when he was coming back that the Cubs they eliminated they had him tone down the leg kick, which made perfect sense to me, and they said he did it. They did it on Saturday. Saturday, 2 days before he called him up, you had him change his swing. Why didn't we do that before? But
oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah. That was when and maybe he was working on it and he hadn't like used it in a game until then. But he had only done it for 2 days before they called him up. Wow. It's not like super noticeable. It's lower. And the whole idea is it just helps him. Like he still has the feel of it and he uses it for his timing, but he gets that foot down faster. And so far he's looked really good. Like,
yeah.
I unearthed that stat because they was like, oh, he just wasn't hitting the ball very hard. And I was like, well, I mean, 82.7 miles an hour. How does that rank? Here's how that ranks. Out of 258 hitters, it ranks 257th. The only guy that was hitting the ball softer than Matt Shaw is Jose Iglesias.
Wow.
But he's hit the ball harder. What's he got? 5 hits in 3 games? Those 5 are all harder than anything he'd hit this first time around. And I noticed he raised his batting average like 50 points. That's the fun of only playing 18 games is when you come back, you could erase that awful start pretty fast if you get hot.
Yeah, he doesn't look as much overmatched as he did.
Yeah, and I get the whole. I mean, it's understandable, right? Like he missed so much of spring training, and then he was trying to, he claims what he did was in the off season he worked on trying to like speed himself up because he was figured you're going to get more velocity. You got to be able to, and he just didn't have enough games in the spring to like ever get comfortable with the change because he only played a few games. Then he hopped on a plane, went to Tokyo, and he played and came back, and he just never like was comfortable. And I actually appreciated the fact that the Cubs cut bait pretty early, didn't let him wallow, and just said, just go to Iowa, start hitting, we'll bring it back. And that's what they did. So, but of course they thought, they had the great Gage Workman. We're fine. What do we need Matt Shaw for? Maybe we can trade him.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I thought it was pretty aggressive the way that they deployed him at the beginning of the season, but I didn't hate it. It's like they didn't really have many other great options. But yeah, it would have been nice to have a veteran guy. Like if Turner could still play third base, at least you'd have a little bit of a cushion there.
I looked up his defensive. He's played 12 innings at third, and he's got a put out and an assist. And I was like, is he? Are they just not hitting the ball near him, or is he just not getting to anything? And I have a feeling I know which one that is. They had Bush taking ground balls at third last week.
Yeah.
But that was because they had Moises up and they were trying to figure out if there was a way to, And I was a big advocate, even before he had played a game, of Moises just staying up. Like, but I thought what they would do then is I didn't realize they were going to bring Shaw up. I thought, well, what do we don't need Nicky Lopez. Why don't they just launch Nicky and then keep Moises up so that Craig at least has a bat on the bench that he can go to in a big spot that might actually get a hit. But it makes perfect sense
Yeah.
when you bring Shaw back, then you're not like basically they were having to pinch hit for whoever the third baseman was every game. So now they
Yeah.
don't
True.
have to do that now. So your bench is a little more normal. But what'd you think of Moises in his week in the big leagues?
Yeah. I mean, he looked a little anxious and nervous, but at the same time, I'm not worried about it. I feel like from what everyone has talked about, he's just a professional hitter. So I think when he gets his chance again, he's going to hit. But yeah, there were some good moments.
Oh, I didn't think
Yeah,
he
but
struck
even
out.
against the White Sox.
He struck out once. I didn't think he struck out at all. He struck out once.
Hmm.
Yeah, he did not look overmatched. He looked like you said. He looked anxious. Like
Yeah.
it was, oh, I can hit that pitch. I'll hit it. And it's like, well, okay, it's a 1-0 pitch. You don't have to swing at that one. You can wait for a better one. Which I mean, he can hit. His minor league numbers are ridiculous. Like we know he can
Yeah.
hit. I don't know where he can play. Looking
Yeah.
at him, it was like, oh,
He's
geez.
a DH.
Like, oh, I pinned your pinstripes. Are you wearing the pinstripes sideways? No. Oh, they're supposed to be slimming, Moises. Oh, this isn't good. But he
No, I
makes
mean,
up.
I've seen worse looking first basemen, so he could
Yeah.
probably hang at first base at some point. But
I was gonna say he makes up for being short by being fat. So he's got those things going for him. But yeah, you got a bat like that, you're gonna find a place to play it. So eventually,
yeah,
we'll
then
see.
there's people on the radio or fans calling in saying, "Yeah, just move Bush to third and you're all set." It's like, no, it doesn't work that
Yeah.
way.
So
I
let's
mean,
have.
first of all, Bush wasn't very good at third, and he is very good at first. So you're going to take one of your young good players that actually is possibly a Gold Glove first baseman and just put him in a position he's not good at, just so you can get another bat in the lineup. This isn't like,
Well, and what are the odds that Moises is a good defensive first baseman? They're very low. So now
yeah,
you've ruined your defense at two different places.
yeah,
Yeah, let's play two guys out of position instead of one. That's a good idea.
no, that
Um,
does not work.
I enjoyed watching Seiya play the outfield again. He hadn't played it very much at all before the half
Yeah,
injury, and he still every once in a while you're like, oh my god, how did he catch that? This is the worst route. But he's not a bad defensive outfielder. He did knock down a ball with his nuts in right field the other night. That was good. That thing looked like it was going to get past him all the way to the wall, and all of a sudden it was rolling back towards Nico. And I was like, "What did that hit?" And they showed the replay, and hopefully he had a cup on because it hit him right in the crotch, and it started rolling back to the infield. So
I don't think guys wear cups anymore, do they?
no, I don't think so, especially not in the outfield. I mean,
I mean, maybe for a catcher, you have
your
to.
catcher should, and honestly, if you're a third baseman, you should wear a cup.
That would be
You're going to
smart.
get but we know they don't because we've seen guys rolling in the grass.
Yeah,
Oh, you'd have to be nuts to be a catcher and not wear one. I can't even imagine that. But I mean, guys,
yeah, that would
catchers
be.
used to not wear masks back in the good old days. Just goalies.
That's great.
They didn't care. Stick your face in there.
Uh,
Well, Dansby's
well,
amazing now. What?
yeah, that's your guy.
Yeah, well, I said drop him to eighth. Get him out of there, and they did, and it worked. And he made he actually two bad. He had two bad defensive days in a row. So I got to reverse the Sarami thing and go. They're not paying him for his defense. He's hitting. It's okay. Yeah, he's quite a
Yeah,
little streak.
he's come alive. Let's see what's I was gonna say how many home runs. Yeah, he's got 10 home runs.
Yeah, they have a lot of the Cubs. I mean, they score a lot of runs. That team has a lot of RBIs on it. Like Seiya
Yeah.
is on pace to drive in like 138 runs. Sure, he'll keep that up. But and Pete, last I checked, and this was a couple days ago, Pete's on pace 41 homers and 48 stolen bases.
Not bad.
Would you put money on him getting to 40-40 this season?
I mean, some. I would definitely be very confident with 30-30.
That was my next question was how confident are you in 30-30?
Yeah, I'd bet the house on 30-30. 40-40, I think he might be a little short on the 40 home runs, but I wouldn't put it past him. Definitely think he's going to hit like in the 30s.
Does he lead the Cubs in strikeouts?
Yeah.
Dansby does. It
Okay.
surprised me.
I
Pete
thought you were at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah, I would guess he does.
Sorry.
No, sorry, I was poorly phrased. Dansby 52
currently it's Dansby. Okay, yeah,
and
but I think Pete will
Pete has
probably
50.
pass him up.
It's a lot.
Yeah, he loves to swing.
9 walks.
It's not great. That's why I laugh too when people were talking about putting him at leadoff. It's like,
No,
not so much.
it really didn't make sense to me that they did it even for when they faced righties with Hap out.
Yeah.
It just felt like, and I couldn't come up with a guy. And then Praz is like, "Wouldn't you just put Nico there?" Like, yeah, actually, that's what I would have done. I would have put Nico there.
Yeah, other than getting him more at bats.
Yeah, and honestly, that's probably what Craig's thinking was like, you know what, it's a week.
Yeah,
You know,
he was so hot too.
Yeah, it worked because he was.
Where do you think his best slot is moving forward, though?
I mean, I think they should. I know why they don't, but I think they should hit him fifth. And I think they don't hit him fifth because they don't want Bush and him back to back. Because it makes it too easy and late in the game for a manager to bring a lefty in to face both of them.
Yeah.
They just want somebody parked in
true.
between them. I do kind of wonder though at some point if you don't look at the two and you flip him and Bush Bush hits cleanup and Pete hits. I mean, Pete hits cleanup and Bush hits sixth instead of the other way around. Because Bush's numbers are good again, but we know now he's really streaky. Like he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything for like a month until the White Sox rolled into town, came across town, and then he's been pretty good the last 6 days. But he goes through it where it just he builds his numbers up and then they slowly deteriorate, and after a while you're like, wait a minute, he's only at 249, which he was. Now he's back up to 260. So the other guy that I think they should if I'm them, I want to get ahead of the curve on Carson Kelly. Like he should not be hitting cleanup in any lineup.
No.
It's like
I think Condo's just writing his writing at the time.
But I'm saying like you banked really good offense from him already. That doesn't mean that's not real. Like just keep him down in the order, and whatever he gives you is good. Yeah, still his OPS is still over 1,000, but it was like it was like 1,300 a couple of weeks ago. He hasn't done much lately.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd hit Pete. I might have a hard time not hitting him second, but I'm with 4 or 5 either. But like you said, you just can't hit him and Bush back to back.
Yeah, I mean, if you put him ahead of Tucker, then Kyle doesn't care if you bring a lefty in.
True.
So maybe that mitigates it a little bit. Like they bring the lefty in to pitch to Pete, and that's fine. But then Tucker's behind him, like, fine, I don't care.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know. You pitch PCA a little differently with Tucker behind him.
Yeah, you'd think he would get better pitches.
He might.
And that just moves everybody back a spot. So Tucker hits third, Say hits cleanup, Bush hits fifth. Yeah, the lineup probably works better that way. All right, I'll send that. I'll email that over to Craig for Friday. New lineup. Hey, Skinny. Dear Skinny, we have a new lineup for you to use in Cincinnati. I knew even if Hap couldn't like move, he would have been activated by Friday to play the Reds.
It's true.
Can you swing? I can hit
Yeah.
the Reds. I know that. I'm healthy enough to hit the Reds, as I always have in my whole life. You're not sitting me out of this one.
And Pittsburgh too hits pretty well.
Yeah, those are the two he destroys the most. But for me, his one redeeming quality is he hits all the Central teams well. So he hits the Brewers and the
Yeah.
Cardinals well.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm still bracing for the breaking news. Cubs have worked out a contract extension with ... and it's Hap. Like, oh, of course it is. Could have been the other outfielder. No, not him.
I'm gonna ask this on my next pod, but this is a horrible way to look at this. But this PCA's arrival make it a little less anxious of a situation with Tucker?
No, now for me it doesn't. What I think it makes me more anxious because I think I can see the Cubs being like, we already got a star. What do we need the other one for? This one, look how much cheaper this one is. It's like, no, you
That's
need them
kind of where I'm
both.
going with that.
You need them both.
Yeah, we went from 0 stars to 2, and that's how good this team looks when you put 2 stars on it.
And then they'll just try to sell you on the whole. Well, he really blossomed because he was playing next to Kyle, and now he's ready to run the team on his own. It's like, no, keep them both. There's no law says you can't have both of those guys.
No, I think they are trying. From what I understand, I think Tucker likes it here. So,
well, we
might just get one of those Cardinal deals where the guy stays.
That should have been the plan all along, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's you build an atmosphere on your team that is attractive to players. That's the whole idea then.
Yeah.
You're supposed to bring good
This couldn't be going any better.
No. Yeah, he's got to be enjoying life.
Yeah.
It is one of the things I do like. I like to listen to the road or the other teams' radio. Well, I have to in the fifth inning if I'm listening to the radio because I can't listen to Zach. But it's kind of cool to listen to the other teams' announcers talk about your players when your players are good.
Yes.
And so this was the situation. Shaw was on third with 2 outs. Tucker's up, and the Marlins in the fifth inning. And the Marlins announcer's like, well, they should just walk him. Why would you pitch to him? Why are we pitching to him? They were like, wait a minute, why? Just put him on. And they were trying to figure out why. I don't know even who their manager is. They said his name like 5 times. I have no idea who the Marlins manager is.
I know. I thought it was still Skip Schumacher.
Might as well be.
Like it's not.
But they're like trying to think of what he's thinking. Like, well, maybe he's thinking, well, he's only the fifth inning. But it was the play-by-play guy who's like, yeah, but 2 runs might win this game, and it did. And he's like, why would you? I mean, this is the best. He said, he goes, this is the best hitter in the National League. Why are we pitching to him? And he got him. And then they about lost their shit because CB Buckner was the ump and he blew strike 3. He called it a ball. And they're like, oh, God. Yeah. Oh, no, he gets another chance. But Kyle lined out to left. And they got off the hook. It was kind of fun to hear that. The other one I listened to over the weekend, I listened to Len and DJ a couple of times. And I miss Len. He's so good.
I thought he retired.
I didn't know he was filling in with the White Sox. He must have got off his real estate job. That's a weekend. Although a lot of showings on Sundays. I don't know. But anyway, DJ was talking about, and I've never really thought he's all that good. Just a little dull. But I thought he went on this tangent that lasted a whole inning, and I really liked it actually. He was talking about the Cubs pitchers kept getting ahead 0-2 on the White Sox, and then getting to 3-2. And he's like, why are they nibbling against our hitters? Like you just threw 2 pitches that our guys didn't come close to hitting. Why are you just automatically like, well, we'll just waste a couple? And he talked about the Greg Maddux was asked what his biggest pet peeve about pitching was. He goes, it's the 0-2 waste pitch. He's like, you have a huge advantage, 0-2. Throw strike. The guys who are worried, well, I don't want to get beat with a strike, 0-2. It's like, that just means you made a crap pitch. That doesn't mean that you should have thrown a ball. It's the whole idea is to get guys out on the fewest pitches possible. And you can get a strikeout on 3 pitches. It's pretty cool. You should probably try to do that. So I enjoyed that. I thought that was fun. But the other thing.
Speaking of other guys that compliment the Cubs, I don't know if you heard Pat Murphy talking about them last week. Or was it maybe 2 weeks ago? He was raving about PCA and Tucker too.
And he said they call him the kid with the blue hair.
The kid with the blue hair, and he's like, and then another guy, he's like, I don't like to see him in the box. And he was talking about Tucker. He's just like, yeah. He's like, bad things happen when that guy steps into the box. Yeah, it feels good to hear that.
Pat and Ron were like very confused early in those games against the White Sox. The Cubs scored 6 runs in the second inning of game 1, I think. And Will Venable was playing the infield in. And Coomer is like, the wind is howling out. And that's the second inning. Why are you playing in? And it's like, because they score like 3 runs a game, Ron.
Yeah.
Like if the Cubs get to 4, it's over. They know that. This is how they have to play. This is why they're terrible.
That's a good point.
But I enjoyed that. I thought that was kind of fun too.
All right. Well, speaking of announcing teams, you're not a fan of Gary Cohn?
I like Gary Cohn. I don't like Alex Cohn.
Or Alex Cohn. Sorry.
Can we trade for Gary Cohn? I'd take that.
Gary Cohn would be good, yeah. Well, I'm going to go on the record. I actually don't mind Alex Cohn, but
I hate him. I think he's terrible. He annoys me. I won't listen to him. I can't do it. I couldn't believe he was doing the Marlins series again. It's like, I'm really worried about Boog. Why can he only work like twice a week? I know he was sick.
Yeah, is he just doing more ESPN games? Did he build that into his deal or something?
I don't know if this was like a scheduled not going. I mean, it seems weird he wouldn't go. Well, maybe he doesn't know anybody anymore, but he used to love to go down to Miami because he worked there forever. He knew lots of people. So it seems odd that he would take that series off. So I'm kind of worried about him actually. Yeah, I can't get over the Cohen. He talks way too much. He does things that aren't his job. He's analyzing pitches, and it's like, you have Jim Deshaies sitting right next to you. Let him do his job. Deshaies there's no rapport. Jim ignores him a lot, I actually kind of enjoy that. What he's really good at is he'll do he did it twice to him this year. In Tokyo, he asked him, he said, how would you grade Matt Shaw so far? And Jim's like, well, it's been 2 games. And after like 4 games, he asked him about Ballesteros, and he's like, it's way too early to do that. And that's it. That's the whole conversation. It's Jim like, just shut up. Would you knock it off? I can't take it. And he's very much a minor league broadcaster. And it's like, this Chicago, we should not have to put up with this. Like, your replacement announcer should actually be somebody good. I know he's cheap and you can make him do whatever, but it's terrible. And then I was going to give Marquis way too much credit for the first time ever. One of the games he did, Marquis had a thing where if you went to their app, you could watch the game without the announcers. It was just the sounds of the park. It was great. So I did. I'm like, oh, this is great. I don't have to listen to him. It's not a regular thing. They do it like once a homestand. It's like, no, I need you to do this every time he's on. Just for me. So I end up like the 2 night games in the Marlins series. I just put it on the second TV with no sound and watched other stuff and just looked over and kept an eye on the Cubs. Because I'm like, I can't listen to this guy.
That's not a bad thing. Yeah.
Like, I can't listen to this guy.
Or you can put the radio on. Yeah, the bottom line is, like, why didn't they just use Pat then? Because they were doing that last year.
Yeah. Can we just...
And sometimes they would even do the simulcast, right?
I don't know if they did a simulcast. Zach gets to do games then.
No, I'm just saying that's just you want to avoid that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the advantages you have if you live out of market and you're a Cub fan. on MLB.TV, you can just watch. You can watch the marquee feed, but you can switch the announcers. Actually, I guess you wouldn't do that,
Yeah.
but you can. You can pick any set of announcers. Oh no, you can watch the marquee feed and you can listen to Pat and Ron, and it's all synced up. The problem with doing it
Hmm.
on here is I have to sync it off my phone, and anytime I use the phone for anything else, then I have to go resync it again, and it just gets annoying.
Okay.
Um,
Well, on the Gary Cohn thing, I mean, I haven't heard a lot of them, so I'll report back to you. I'll have to listen to them a little bit more because
that's fair.
we have been getting a fair share of him.
Of Alex Cohn, yeah, he said Gary again.
Alex,
It's just
God
wishful
damn it, I
thinking.
did it again.
I know it's just wishful
Yeah.
thinking. But if they want to bring,
Your guy Dempster was back.
oh, I couldn't believe that. I literally I looked at that and went, no, like nope. There's no way I'm listening to a Alex Cohen Ryan Dempster broadcast. You've got to be kidding me. But if they want to bring in a Mets announcer, how about they should bring in former Mets announcer Wayne Randazzo? That's who should come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wayne's good. We like Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah. Wayne used to have me on the score.
I was messaging Wayne and
Back
giving
in the
him
day.
shit during when he did the Apple TV game a few weeks ago, and he was messaging me back from the booth. I'm like, Wayne,
Nice.
I really didn't expect to get a response while you're working, but
Yeah, Wayne's cool as shit.
he it all started with the Don Terrell that was his partner, and he was they brought up Aramis, his name, just talking about. I think they were just talking about Cub third baseman, and Don Terrell's like, "Oh God, I have horrible flashbacks about that guy. He hit a grand slam off being in the playoffs." And Wayne's like, "Yeah, we don't want to talk about the playoffs. We don't want to talk about that. We know how that ended. We're not talking about that." Yeah, he's with the Angels, right? I think that's his real job.
Yeah.
And he does the Apple games. He's
Yeah.
good. I like him.
No, Wayne's good.
I was listening to a Mets
Yeah,
game a couple of years ago. He was doing it on the radio, and they had a trivia question, and I knew it was a thing like had anybody? No, it wasn't even a trivia question. I don't remember what it was, but they were asking like, "Do you think anybody ever did that?" And I don't remember what it was. I should remember it off the top of my head. But the answer, one of the answers was Sean Dunston. So I messaged him, and so he talked about it on the air while I was listening. He's like, "Oh," he said, "My friend Andy." I didn't need to be identified either way. It was fine. He said Sean Dunston did that, and so they're like looking it up in the booth and I was right. So I was, see, I can contribute to these broadcasts. I can message Len. I can't message Boog.
You could be a 3-man booth with Cohen and Dempster.
I could. I would do that. I'd sit in there. I'd mix it up. Just like when the last season of Eastbound and Down, Kenny Powers, Ken Marino's character had that like panel show, and they hated one of the guys that was on it. He was just an ass, and he brought Kenny on, thinking that Kenny was gonna like give this guy shit, and he didn't. Kenny like froze on the first one, and he's yelling at him, he's like, "You bring me back, and I'll take care of it." And he did. He just started insulting the guy the whole second broadcast. That could be me sitting in between Dempster and. It's like, hey Ryan, know anybody ever walked 7 guys in a playoff start? I mean, other than you.
I was there. That was rough.
It's terrible.
Camarino, he was so good.
Guy Young, that was his fake news or sportscaster name.
He was great on. Wait, what's the name of that show? That
Party Down.
Party Down.
Party Down. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been burning through all the Danny McBride shows. I never watched Vice Principals. I watched that and I enjoyed that. You can tell it's kind of a Walton Goggins is on it, and so is Edie Patterson, who played Judy on The Righteous Gemstones, his sister. And you could tell they're just kind of figuring out like what to do with those two, and then they had it nailed it in The Righteous Gemstones. But I'm always amazed at the people that he got, even with Eastbound and Down. All he'd ever done before that, I think, was that the martial arts movie, like what was it? The foot fist way or whatever it was, where he played like that that asshole who's running like a taekwondo thing for kids in a strip mall. I guess he gets eastbounded down, and he gets Don Johnson and Lily Tomlin to play his parents. They just horribly embarrass themselves while they do it, and they were completely game. So I enjoy that. He's not afraid to ask big stars to debase themselves in his shows, and they always do it and have a good time. Do you know anything about the I keep reading, and it's guys that don't really know who are just throwing their opinions out about the McCaskies having to sell shares because of
No,
the grandkids can't pay the inheritance tax.
no.
Yeah, that's a thing. They're like they're gonna lose. They're not gonna be the majority owners. It's like I guarantee you, they're not gonna not be the majority owners. Like it's not that hard to figure out a way to do that. But Virginia owns 31% of the team, and so it's she's through her will. It's the shares are being sent off to her heirs. Um, and you do because it's the state of Illinois. You have to pay inheritance tax, and anything worth more than $7 million. And it can get up there, but I there was the Bears blog guy who I don't directly follow, but I somehow see a bunch of his stuff. Was already like, I don't know why they wouldn't have figured the stadium thing out before this, because now it's all going to be imperiled by they're going to lose control of the team. No, I know it's wishful thinking that the McCaskies are going to have to sell. They're not. I don't get it. But I wondered, I didn't see, and I should have looked, because I'm sure by now we know. I was wondered if George voted for or against the tush push today. Do we know?
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I know.
The tush push
I don't know
remains.
why. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought it was already decided.
No, today they had the Packers had put the rules committee proposal in at the last owners meetings, and it got tabled until today. And they voted today, and the Packers needed 24 votes for their proposal to ban it, to get it banned, and they only got 22. So the tush push.
No, it's pretty close.
Yeah. Ben Johnson made some smart ass remark today about how I'm not interested in plays that only gain a yard. I like explosive plays. So I kind of got the feeling that the Bears probably voted to ban it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would guess that too, but that's a pretty funny line.
Ben has no shortage of confidence.
No.
And there was the whole thing about that Seth Wickersham book is coming out, and Caleb didn't want to play for the Bears, and then he did, and there was the whole thing. But it's one of those things, like if you see it on the in like the headline didn't match the actual like story. Right. The story was very understandable. It was Caleb met with the Vikings. He met with Kevin O'Connell, and then he met with the Bears and Matt Eberflus. And he's like, I really like to go to Minnesota. And to me, that sounds like common sense is what that sounds like.
Yeah.
But then when they went to the combine, had their 30 visit with like Poles and great Shane Waldron and everybody, Caleb came out of there going, "That's fine. It's going to work in Chicago. I'm ready. We're not gonna pull any crap to try to not go." And then there's the other nugget that came out of that was the Caleb telling that sometimes they would he'd go watch film and no one would tell him what to look for.
Yeah.
He's just like sitting in a room watching film by himself. And Alex Smith, of all people, said that exact thing happened to him in San Francisco, his rookie year. Yeah. Like, go watch. Are you studying? Sure. But what? I don't know what I'm supposed to look for. I'm just watching the game. Like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, I don't blame Caleb at all. I mean, if you saw Hard Knocks and saw him sitting in that office with the Flus, I would have ran out of that room.
It's too late.
That was some rough TV. Yeah. Too bad we not get it. The Bears on Hard Knocks now. Now would actually be really good to watch
Yeah.
with Ben Johnson. I would love to see that.
Yeah. I mean,
And then the other part of it is, a lot of it was Carl Williams. You know that it was his dad had a lot to do with it, and he's the one who talked to Seth.
yeah.
And when that report came out with Cowherd, that had his dad written all over it. It was all true. But at the end of the day, I think Caleb, he did the right thing, and I think that it's going to work out. They fixed it, but yeah, it was really a waste of a season.
It was,
Having him
especially
under
when,
Flus, yeah,
especially now that we know that, because one way you could be like, you know what, it's fine because you ended up with Ben Johnson, and that's like the
yeah,
perfect guy to have there, except for the fact that Ben clearly wanted that job last year,
yeah,
so he would have had him last year. Like he wanted to work with Caleb really bad. It's part of the thing that was the sticking point with the Commanders was he's like, if you can't get Caleb, I don't know why you need to draft a quarterback, which is a little scary. Considering he's like Jaden Daniels, no, we don't want him. But he wanted to work with Caleb, so I guarantee you, if that Bear job was open with the first pick last year, they'd have signed him. He'd be there. He'd have been their coach last year.
yeah,
But we can't go back. We can only go forward, and they got him now.
yeah. My only thought is that maybe Poles wanted to make the change, but he wasn't allowed to at the time. But I think the longer Warren's been there, and I'm not trying to give Kevin Warren this much, all the credit, but I do feel like he is twisting some arms, and I think he's obviously making them operate a little bit differently.
Yeah. The thing I'd really like to get, we heard like partial reporting on this, and I'd like to know which way it was going. I think I know.
Yeah.
So they had the debacle in DC with the Hail Mary, and then they went to Arizona the next week and just got embarrassed.
Yep.
And apparently, I guess we do know the way it went. Apparently, Poles wanted to fire Flus then, and Warren said, "You brought him back. It was your decision. You're stuck with him. If you want to change coaches, we'll change it after the year." And I kind of felt like Kevin was probably, 2 years. So after Flus's second season, the Bears didn't announce he was coming back till like the end of that Monday. Like that whole day went by, and there's no announcement that the Flus was coming back. And then they did at the end of the day that they fired Getsy and a couple other guys, and that Flus was coming back. And I kind of feel like now, when you look back at it, Warren was pushing Poles to make the change then. And Poles, I think, was like, well, we won. I can see him like, we won 7 games, we got better, blah blah blah. It's clearly it was a mistake. And so I kind of wonder if that's what that whole argument was about after the Cardinal game. Like, now you're stuck with him. And then after the humiliation in Detroit, when you stand there watching the clock tick away, there was no saving him, no matter what. You had to change then. You couldn't wait. So I don't know. I do feel like for all of Kevin Warren's bluster, the biggest benefit for them having him is he thinks big.
Right.
Like he expects the Bears to like go get the best coach and go do this and go whatever, which they should. And they've never had that attitude before. It was easy for Ted Phillips to be like, I don't know, that's going to cost a lot of money. I don't think we should do that. And they have the opposite of that now. And he's like, no, we'll go get the big name, whether it's a good idea or not. Kevin wants the big, and it's good. They should aspire higher than what they have.
Yeah, honestly, if Ben Johnson doesn't work out, then probably nobody's going to. So it's like, I'll have no problem with this process.
Yeah, if it fails, it didn't fail because they picked the wrong, I don't know, I guess maybe they did. But at the time they made the choice, it's 100% the right choice, right?
Exactly.
That opportunity presented itself, and you have to do it because that should work.
And as quickly as they moved, yeah. As quickly as they moved, and regardless, Ben obviously wanted the job, but they moved quickly, and it was pretty surprising.
Yeah, because there was a whole thing about Tom Brady's going to stick his nose in there and he's going to steal him away and blah blah blah. And then that to me, that the fact that the Bears got him didn't shock me, but the timing of it, I couldn't believe it. Like
Yeah.
it was like so the Lions lost on. Did they play the Monday night game in the playoffs?
No, I think it was Sunday. I think it was
And then
Sunday. The Bears
by
got him on
like
Monday.
mid afternoon on Monday, Ben
Yeah.
Johnson's a Bear. He
That
didn't
was
go.
it.
He didn't. And not only did he not go visit anywhere else, he didn't even come visit the Bears.
Yeah.
He didn't walk into Hallis Hall till he walked in to sign the contract.
Yeah,
Would have been funny if he walked in and went, "Oh God, what did I do?" Just runs out the door.
Yeah, if this doesn't work with Caleb Ben Johnson, then we're fucked. But it's gonna work.
Did you not? You didn't do a 2-hour live podcast of the schedule reveal?
I do.
You didn't do that. No. The Chungo guys did.
I mean, I'm interested for about 5 minutes, but I don't get all wrapped up in the schedule.
It's like we already knew who they were playing. This is just the order.
Yeah.
That's all they're revealing is the order of the games.
Yeah, maybe some of the primetime announcements, that's cool, but it's like shit, I'm anxious for like summer to get here. I'm not thinking ahead to September and October yet.
Our buddy John Greenberg tweeted at me the other day. I don't know if he saw Cap had Tyson Bagent on his podcast.
No.
And apparently, I thought I didn't recognize where they were. Apparently, Cap has a podcast studio now. It has no table, just like Chuggo. And Tyson was wearing these little shorts and was sitting completely man spread. And Greenberg's like, looks like Chuggo's not the only studio that needs a table. It's like, holy Christ. Like, we can see your tonsils, Tyson. Close your legs.
Oh no. Take that.
It is funny that your first big in-studio guest is the Bears' backup quarterback.
Nice.
We gotta go live with this one. We got Tyson Bagent. What?
Yeah, they're gonna have Gordon on. Gordon still for some reason, even though he's covering the Reds now, he still does the podcast with Cap. So he's still talking Cubs.
Yeah, I told Cap. I said when he left, I just assumed you were gonna bring me in. He's like, oh. I do the recap. I don't even want to. Here's what I would like.
You got to start doing some videos from the shower to get his attention.
I'll do that. I'll do the cryo video. I don't care. That'd be fun. I'll do the shower videos. I want to be Cap's vacation replacement. So it could be me and Gordo when Cap goes away. I want to ask him if I can do that. It'd be fun. Not tell Gordo. Just have me show up because we just imagine seeing me. What the fuck is this? I don't know. Oh yeah, I was going to mention this. We're talking about Alex Cohen or Gary, either one.
I call him Gary.
Why don't they just have Elise do those games?
No, yeah, I mean,
would anybody complain? She's good. They don't use her. She's criminally underused by Marquee. Like, I get why Taylor is the sideline reporter. She's, Taylor's very attractive. There's no doubt about that. And she has a, Boog, I think, would quit if she was gone.
Yeah, plus, Taylor, she's sassy. She's got some,
But Elise is better at that job. She just, when she's on, she's always better.
More insightful, yeah.
She's the best studio host they have. She's far better than Cole Wright. And I honestly think,
agreed.
And I honestly think if you just had her do the play-by-play and the games the Boog wasn't there, she'd be better at that.
Wait, who was the other lady they had that did it last year?
Beth Mowens.
She was good, yeah.
She's very good. She was, honestly, since Len left, Beth Mowens is the best play-by-play announcer Marquee has had. And her and JD.
I mean, Boog is considered pretty good though, isn't he?
I will tell you, I have a new appreciation for Boog this year. Like, I'm always so happy to see him now. Boog is pretty good. Boog, there's a lot of shtick with Boog.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
the thing I notice about, and I know it's obviously baseball is far different on the radio than it is on TV, but what I notice in radio is they actually talk about the situations a lot more than they do on TV, like the strategy of what's coming up. And you don't need a lot of it. Like you can actually get too much of that. It's like we got 162 of these, but it is there's very little on marquee. They don't talk about like um, I just noticed it's noticeable when you switch over to radio how much and I some of it is that Pat's got to tell you like where the if the infield is in or if it's back or whatever because you can't see it. He's got to tell you, and
right.
maybe that lends itself more to that than the kind of chuckling about somebody's shoes for 2 innings like they do on marquee. Um, but I'll also tell you that Boog is a much better announcer on ESPN than he is on marquee,
Yeah,
and he's a really
I
good
agree
radio
with that.
announcer.
He
Um,
is.
But even when he occasionally fills in on Sunday Night Baseball, I always feel like he's better. And I think a lot of it, I think Marquee wants like a certain style and tone, and I don't think it's a good one. Um, but I don't know, they're not getting any style or tone with with Thumbo with the backup. It's like, geez, just could you just go back to Iowa? Fine. Couldn't he have driven Moises home? That's what they should do. Alex, by the way, we're sending by stairs down. The keys are in the car. We got a whole full tank of gas. What am I doing? You're driving it. What? The MLB Network did a Greg Maddux documentary last year, and one of the
Yeah.
stories Greg told, I still don't believe this story. I don't believe where they were. So he and Chico Walker got called up the same day. They both got called up, and so Greg drove from Des Moines to Wrigley, and he goes, "We get about 5 miles from the park, and Chico realizes he doesn't have his wallet, so we had to go back." Does anybody believe that they got 5 miles from Wrigley and they turned around and drove back to Des Moines to get Chico Walker's wallet? I don't. I think at some point Greg just decided to have fun with the producer. He started telling stories that weren't true. Listen to this one. He didn't have his wallet. What was he going to do? He didn't have any money. He didn't have any ID. He wasn't able to get on a plane. We had to go back. I don't believe you, Greg.
No way. Yeah.
All right. I wonder when we're going to get Rick Sutcliffe again. Does he only do
Yeah.
only in San Diego now? Is that the only games he does?
I think it's just the West Coast games.
Just
Yeah.
get him for 3 games a year now, which is 2.5 too long, too many.
Well, he was doing some Dodger games though too, wasn't he? Not maybe
Yeah, I guess
this
you're
year,
right.
but
Yeah,
he
he
has in the
does.
past. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The Cubs in
Yeah, I know. I know.
in their
Everybody loves
regional.
JD. I'm without getting too far into this right now at the end, but I think like JD and Boog together, it's just too dry.
Too dry.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, I feel like Boog
styles
needs
too
somebody
similar.
else that's like, yeah. I feel like I just feel like the energy is. So I feel like with Sud at least it kind of raises the energy a little bit with Boog. They're more playful together.
Yeah, but I just can't handle Rick. I can't take
No,
it.
I know it's in small doses.
It's very small. They get I'd like to microdose Rick Sutcliffe. Is that
Yeah.
possible? Okay, Rick is going to do the first 3 batters, and then he's going to leave. So we can get all your rider stories then, Rick. And talk about your grandson.
Well,
And you
speaking of
can
microdoses, before we go, have you seen the studio?
yes, yes.
Okay.
With
The last
not
episode was so
understanding
funny.
what two they're 2.8. Okay, 2.8. 2.8 grams. Yeah,
That is a fun show.
that was great. And it's funny because when I went to watch this week's, I forgot that there was a cliffhanger from the episode.
Oh wait, no spoilers because I
Well, I
gotta
won't tell
watch
you
it
what
as
happens.
soon as this.
I'll just tell you, I was
okay.
very excited that they were just picking up exactly where they had left off. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
a new story. They still had to finish this one, and it's good. It's very good.
Okay.
Did you know this? Because
Yeah,
they
Cranston
didn't
is
make it.
amazing.
Do you know Bryan Cranston is playing Tim Robbins' character from The Player? That's who he
No.
is. That's who Griffin Mill is. He's
Okay.
and it's really supposed to be him.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
that was intentional that they named the character that. I think they tried to get Tim, and he's busy with Silo or whatever. And but that's the same. Seth Rogen said it's the same guy. It's just him now, this many years later. So I enjoyed that.
That's crazy. I did not know that. No.
But they
That's
don't
good
do. They
info.
don't go out of their way at all to explain it. It's just you either pick up the name or you
Okay.
don't. And I don't know. Maybe the studio is the same. I haven't watched The Player in forever. Maybe the studio is the same name. I don't know. I don't know if that is.
I'll have to check that out and see the difference.
But that was good. Yeah. All right. Well, this was fun.
All right.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah. Yeah, you too.
Let me know when I'm Tony Randall. I'm your emergency guest on your podcast. When everybody cancels and you just break the glass and I come walking out, and I'll do your pod for you.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. I mean, got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much. Awesome.